Alright, that's Judgment by Megan Echo. You will notice that there is some kind of humming in the background. That is because I'm running my aircon as high as possible, because holy fucking shit, it fucking sucks in the UK right now. Particularly because my office is in a loft. A loft in a building designed to trap as much heat as possible. So yes, there will be a slight hum. Apologies. Did it go up above 15 degrees again? Hold up! Look. By American numbers, by African numbers, it's not much. But we're on like 32, 33, 34. And it's gonna go up. And in the loft, it's probably like fucking 40 or 50, okay? I'm just saying, it's insane. It's insane. At least without my aircon. Someone linked a YouTube video. Why are they zooming? Why are they talking so fast? Oh, someone cracked the uncrackable pirate software DRM. Holy fucking shit! Liana K is still alive? Liana Kurtzner is still alive. And still just as retarded as ever, except now with age and experience I can recognize just how retarded she is. Unbelievable. It's incredible. It's amazing. What an artifact. It's like digging up a mummy. A retarded ginger mummy. Oh. Holy fuck. Imagine even floating for a second the idea that SKG risks major publishers pulling out of the EU. Even considering for a second. If that's your take, even for like a split second of consideration, delete the video. Start again. Start again. Cut that bit out. Anyway. Alright. We're going to be going over some old news today. A lot of old news. However, despite the title being old news and me promising old information I'm late to because of the days I took off, there's fresh card posting content. I think we'll watch it because I want to keep up to date with the matter of card posting versus Jason Thor Hall and his victimization at the hands of the Ferret Lord. I feel that card posting is trying too hard to prove he's Australian. I'll show you what I mean. A Coles receipt in the background? Australian receipts? Come on, come on. Localize it. It needs to be American receipts. And I'm starting to think you're not from Australia. True, he also has not said cunt once that I'm aware of. My read on card would be that he doesn't have a problem with saying it, but for the sake of the character of it, his channel would not. How about that? Almost again. Almost again. Person in YouTube chat with a profile picture that appears to be Jesus with sunglasses. Do you like Devin Townsend? Where'd you get that name from, buddy? Have I pegged you? Have I hit the nail on the head? Have I gotten you down to a science, or is it a coincidence? Anyway, I guess we'll start with this. Literally just saw that this was posted as I went live. So we'll see what he has going here. Card Posting posted a video about being targeted by Thor, claiming that he had solid receipts. One of his shorts was then taken down. he then made community posts, or a community post, asking for other people who've been targeted for censorship by Jason to get in touch, and now he has an 8.5-minute video covering his history of abusing report buttons. I'm not even familiar with this. I haven't looked too deep into it. Have Townsend and Tim been in the same room together? In terms of music, I'm certainly better than Devin Townsend at ukulele. But anything else? No. No. Not even ballpark. I can't even sing, let alone perform vocals in the general vicinity of what Devin can, okay? And certainly nowadays with all my rust, he's a million times better guitarist than me. But ukulele, I think I've got him. Anyway, card posting. Let's see.
First things first.
How long do you reckon that was, by the way?
First things first. Download this video right now. I mean it. Surely you've got...
Okay, okay. The danger zone. I have to warn you as well that card posting has suggested that he has an interest in being a pro YouTuber. He didn't quite say it in those terms. He was very careful. But our boy's been poisoned. His brain has been rotted. Ama Ebi. Kiwi Farms is very, very slow. I'm not sure they even know about card posting crashing a fucking Tranoid poetry festival. They're very, very slow at finding and digging. I'm sorry, it's just true. Occasionally they'll find things I haven't found, but in terms of speed, very lacking.
First things first, download this video right now. I mean it. Surely you've got some means to save a YouTube video at your disposal.
By the way, as an upstanding UK resident, I have of course never visited Kiwi Farms. It would be impossible for me to anyway. I don't even know what is a VPN thing required to access it nowadays. I don't know. What is that? VPN?
Save your own copy of this one right now. The whole thing, decent quality too. Doesn't matter if you're bored at work and looking for something to watch on your lunch break, or you're a big React streamer live right now. Download this video.
Oh, I'm not big. I'm not big, but I am reacting and I am live right now, so 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah. I say this because I know what this video is.
I have a connection to the internet and a pulse, so I count.
Is about, and more importantly, I know who it's about, and because of who it's about, I know there's a very real chance it's going to mysteriously disappear soon. Maybe even before you're done watching it in full. So please,
God.
Download it.
Card is trying too hard. Here, Card is trying way too... This is too much. Hey guys. I've pinged.
Just in case.
I'm pinging. Hey guys, I'm considering taking YouTube a bit more seriously as a potential source of financial support. Anyway, my next video is, download this right now! The fucking ferret fucker government doesn't want you to hear what I'm gonna say. Make back... Come on.
Then come back and watch it. Hopefully you've done that now, so let's get into it. You might know who I am and what I do here, but if not, it's not super important anyway. What you do hopefully know is...
That is not a car in the background. There's not a truck. Card is simply playing the intro to that one Manowar album.
Is who Jason 4 Hall is. 2.4 million sub YouTuber, streamer, software developer.
Not for long. Fact check. Allow me to do a live fact check. 2.4 million? Oh, he's still on 2.4 million. Okay. Who knows for how long? What the fuck do you mean 495 watching? Hang on. I'm gonna be honest, I've never checked his viewership. I was assuming he had like 10k plus concurrents. What the fuck do you mean 495 watching? What? Maybe more, presumably must be more on Twitch, right? Or so.
I would really like you to think he's some sort of voice of authority about
4k on Twitch, okay. I still expected it to be a lot more. A lot more. I never looked. I just assumed we were talking like 10 to 20k concurrents.
digital security and consumer rights and politics and animal welfare, all because of his 2 decades experience ostensibly developing but never actually publishing computer games.
True.
Lots of people...
Early access counts as published. Kind of. There's an interesting matter with Subnautica 2 regarding that Ausrad clued me into. That's really fucked up. Maybe we'll talk about it sometime.
Especially recently, have, I would say very correctly, been criticizing Hall for his outspoken opposition to the Stop Killing Games initiative and his very apparent narcissistic streak, and how he's been generally very dishonest in his
narcissistic streak is a rough one to say.
Interactions with other large content creators. Here's the thing though. Being really hateable, being really obnoxious, being a liar and a narcissist, and telling people you've been working on a game that realistically might never come out for 10 years, all these things aren't against the law. They're generally not even against the terms of service of the platforms, like YouTube,
True.
Hall primarily promotes himself on.
Card is tempting us with a vision of the future where we nail him for something that Google will ass rape him for. I think it's optimistic. I think even if you have him dead to rights, they're going to let him off.
But there's something he definitely does, and does a lot,
thank you, as the third dimension,
which is expressly not allowed on this platform. Something which I realized we haven't really seen anyone bring up in the midst of all this Stop Killing Games stuff. Because...
Brigading!
At the very least, on YouTube, falsely, maliciously, knowingly misusing reporting tools to get other people's content taken down is meant to be a very big no-no. It's something that, if you do repeatedly, is supposed to very well mean you yourself will be removed from the platform permanently. And I believe Jason Thor Hall has a long history of doing exactly this, and has surely...
He's a furry. He has armor. He has armor. I'm telling you.
Crossed any reasonable threshold of how much doing that should get someone removed from YouTube for the sake of other users. And that's what I want to address specifically in this video. I'm going to try and keep this as short as I can today.
Alright. But
this one video isn't likely the only thing I'll be doing about the problem of Jason Thor Hall's history of report button abuse.
Card posting pumps his shotgun in the next frame.
And if you bear with me for just a little bit here, I'll also explain what I mean by that, and why this video is going to have to be the way it is.
Presumably he's going to be talking about gathering fellow victims of Jason.
So, I've been planning to make this video for about a week now, ever since I got wind of the fact Hall tried to take down a...
Notch should bring back fat, harmful opinions. Look, man, I think Notch got a bit triggered at chat one day when he was in chat, and then he did not like... I made a tweet that was like, don't worry, it's not too late to abort iDubbbz. And he didn't like that. Abortion's a touchy subject for him, I guess. He does not like abortion jokes. I don't think he's very friendly to me anymore. So your wish for him to pay me to become obese again, you're out of luck. You're out of luck.
Another video I did called You Should Hate Pirate Software. And ever since he did successfully get a YouTube short of mine parodying him with the game Postal 2 taken down, I would argue falsely, with a report filed for targeted harassment.
True. Very clearly comedic parody of a massive public figure, at least in the YouTube space. We're not talking real celebrity levels, but certainly the joke is, hi, it's the game where you go around and ask people to sign a petition. Here's the YouTuber who doesn't want to sign a petition, wants to tell people not to. Sure. I don't think it could be construed in any way as a legitimate, credible threat. I don't think any reasonable person will feel threatened by that, or bullied by that.
I was going to make a video showing off how he coordinates his most loyal fans through platforms like Discord to mass flag any videos he doesn't like. How he almost certainly seems to obsessively name search himself based off of how he must have found my small YouTube page in the first place, and I was going to show off the report I got emailed from YouTube confirming they would not be letting that short of mine stay up. Then I put a post out on my YouTube community tab asking if anyone else had any similar experiences with Hall, and if they did, would they mind emailing me their stories, evidence, etc. Maybe so I could platform those stories. And I actually ended up getting a lot, many of which all fit the same basic pattern. Close to a dozen people ended up emailing me in a few days.
Okay. There's gotta be at least, if we're stretching it, that's gotta be at least 8. Close to a dozen. How far below 12 can you go and still call it close to a dozen? I think 8 is the lowest you can possibly go.
To say, here's a video I made, here's a link to where it used to be on YouTube, here's a screenshot of the takedown notice I got, and I did my best to confirm all this was legit and it all checked out as far as I could tell.
Good.
A lot of people even sent me Google Drive links and such showing me the videos they made months and months ago. And
that's very good. That's very valuable.
None of them seem like serious harassment or copyright infringement to me. But that's what they're all getting struck for. If they used clips...
It's called the harmful opinions community. We're all divided up into many independent cells, united only by the shared goal of harassing pirate software, for no reason, and gang-stalking pirate software, to drive pirate software crazy. We have no motive. We're just chaotic evil and don't give a fuck. Fuck pirate software. Thank you very much.
Of Hall at all, even like 20 seconds out of a live stream of his, they got copyright struck. If they made fun of Hall at all, they got taken down for harassment. And typically, these YouTube channels would be ones that had made like a couple videos before and would often have maybe a few hundred subscribers. Often even...
Hello, Pragmatic Culture.
Pragmatic Culture fed the streamer in $9.99.
Thank you, very generous.
Hey brother, great stuff these last few months. Makes me wish people paid this much attention back when Candid was a thing. Keep it up.
Yeah. I don't love that Bindu Reddy, ex-CEO of Candid, is so buddy-buddy with fucking Elon Musk nowadays. But I did what I could. Alright? I did my best, okay? I did my best posting YouTube videos.
Less. People showed me screenshots of their YouTube studio panel and would explain, hey, I never made a video before, but I did one on pirate software and it got a few thousand views and the next day it was gone. Or, hey, I have 8 subscribers.
Because he knows. The thing about this that makes me smell blood... The thing that fucking disgusts me. If Card has receipts that are good enough to outline a certain pattern of behavior, I'm gonna fucking frenzy out. It's one thing to hit everyone who's shit-talking you. It's another thing to strategically wield, censorship via mass flagging, carefully only against channels you can get away with doing that to. Letting the ones where you know if you hit them it might blow up too much. Letting them go, but only crushing the tiniest of tiny little guys. That makes me want to fucking eat your eyelids. Makes me want to pull your eyelids off. Throw them in a pan, crisp them up and eat them, man.
And did a YouTube poop edit of the Roach Out World of Warcraft thing and got insta-nuked off the...
I banned you from my Discord? You must have been doing something real fucked. Did you post like a link to child abuse or something? You'd have to have done something real fucking bad. Or spammed, which is even worse.
Platform for it. That sort of thing. So I figured the people who contacted me directly...
How do you know that this is Thor and not just a toxic fanbase? Lore. Card claims to have concrete receipts of incitement of brigading.
Wouldn't be the only people this has happened to, surely. So I went digging, and I found a lot more people online basically reporting that this had happened to them too. That they'd covered Jason Thor Hall or Pirate Software in some negative capacity, and shortly thereafter been hit with a takedown notice. There's a really huge amount of those stories out there, actually. Now, I haven't been able to vet all of them yet myself.
We have not seen the receipts, which is why you have not seen a video from me, because I am standing back and standing by, waiting for the trigger to be pulled.
As you might expect. But, based on what I've seen myself at this point, I will say, I think they are, by and large, all perfectly believable, frankly. Now, the main reason I'm making this video right now is because I'm...
So, if Card's receipts are good, he's fucked, even if no one else has good receipts. Because if Card's receipts are concrete, fuck it, yeah. He probably did whatever that is to everyone else as well. Right? You get what I'm saying? This is potentially an absolutely devastating withering attack. But it hinges on how good Card's receipts are.
I've already mentioned that I'd be doing something about Hall since he tried to strike me. Well, I wanted to keep my word on that, and I didn't want people to be kept waiting in the dark forever. You'll notice that I haven't included footage of the man himself in this video. That's primarily because I suspect if I had any at all, he'd be getting his drones to swarm that report button already. Which sort of illustrates a key problem here. How do you critique someone with thousands of times a larger audience than you on a platform where they weaponize that audience?
Just include the clips. That's what I do.
Well, that got me thinking. And now I'm going to be working on a new side project for a bit. I'm going to compile as much info as I can on Pirate Software doing false claims to people, verify it all to the best of my abilities, and then put it all on one big website, which I'll make. I've made websites before. I know the process of getting them hosted online.
Oh, okay.
And even, I mean, my day job as a historical researcher is essentially putting together big binders full of info on any
academic resource that can be cited on Wikipedia. By Dr. Card. Dr. Card's Why Pirate Software is a Gigantic Friend website. Citable on Wikipedia thanks to its accreditations.
Given topic, so that should help. I feel I can do this properly. I think Jason Thor Hall has a history of abusing YouTube's reporting systems, both automated and otherwise, to silence people who hurt his ego. I think if you laid out all the evidence he does this in one place, you'd have more than enough to demonstrate he blatantly transgresses the rules of this website.
It would also be a nice little resource for the lazier YouTubers. Not necessarily me, okay? Alright, okay? But the people who don't research anything, but wait for other people to collate things so that it's practically a script in and of itself. And they can just grab it and then speak.
To such an extent that if it were known,
Then it will echo.
he himself would be banned. Therefore, I will compile all of that evidence, and I'll let you know when that website is ready. Until then, goodbye for now, and have a lovely day.
On the one hand, making a site is unhealthy farm's level of obsessing over it. But on the other, Pirate Software is such a twat. Nevelkus, that's commentary on a guy who lives in the Australian wilderness in a shed full of papier-mâché skulls, who makes his money selling seashells painted in the colours of the Ukrainian flag. I wouldn't worry about, like, unhealthy behavior here. That commentary is not necessary. I didn't see part 1 Glitter Farm. As I said in my video, I have no fucking idea. I don't know about any of that. There is, like, 0 point in me watching any of it, because it is all Greek to me. I don't know. The way they explain it for a layman could make sense to me, but I have no way of confirming that the way they've explained it for a layman is reflective of reality. It would be fucking nothing. It would not mean anything to me. It would be silly. I need to pee. What have I been messaged with? Wait, what? Is that you? Saturn, is one of those you? You've been targeted? Akemi? Shiro? Nice. Oh, this doesn't look like targeting. What am I fucking looking at? Oh, that is you. Wendigo is you. Vitards. People calling to have you doxxed? Where? Show me that part. Show me that part. I'll be back in a minute. I really need to pee. It's spicy in the UK right now, at least by UK standards, and urination has become a more frequent occurrence. I'll play Judgment again for you. I've been enjoying. I walk around the supermarket listening to this, giving people ugly looks. I have this shit blasting out of my headphones and I'm like, hidden people with squints. Anyway, I'll be back in a minute. I need to piss. I'm back. See, that was pretty short, wasn't it? Alright. Whew. Right, next. I was linked a depressing video about the state of things. Was I frying chicken? Oh, that was the microphone in the bathroom. That was just the urine hitting the water in the toilet bowl, of course. It was not sizzling of chicken. I bought some yellow label chicken at the supermarket. You know, like the hot food cabinet? I got some chicken wings. Brickadia just came out in early access. Speaking of early access, now that I've beaten Covenant 25 in Monster Train, and I'm picking my way through all the expert challenges, I need another game to play. I've been looking at Heartbound. Do you think that... Do you think that'd be worth my time? Do you think that could be... I played the demo. I did not play the full experience, or rather the full early access experience. I've heard that there are 3 fights in it. Given that the first one was like a proof of concept for a general minigame system, I don't have much hope for it being worth my time, but play it and then make a video review. Almost as if what I'm doing here is teasing that possibility. I could tweet at him and say, hey man, I've been very mean to you. I've been very harsh. Not because I want to be, but because of what I've seen. Calling for that. You know what? He won't give me a code if I say it. Never mind. Hello. I've basically called you scum of the earth, but that's only because you deserve it. Can I have a code for your game? I won't call it shit just because I think you're a lying piece of shit. I won't judge the game based on who made it. I'll be fair. Give me a code. I think it would be amazing at the start of a review of Heartbound to have a disclosure that it was provided by the publisher. I think that would be fantastic. That'd be real good. The demo didn't give me much hope. The demo did not give me much hope. No. Ooh. Very Undertale at home. The guy will go, I fucking emailed Toby Fox 30 years ago! You know, back when I started development. And he agreed I'm not just fucking an Undertale wannabe. It's called being polite, Jason. Okay? You have made Undertale at home. I'm sorry. That's exactly what it fucking is. Undertale if it released on Newgrounds, perhaps. The way the minigames look. How about that? Is that better? Anyway. I look extra orange because I've been in the fucking sun. I'm probably going to wash my hair tomorrow. Well, wash my scalp tomorrow. And it's just going to come off like a rubber glove. Just a sheet of skin. Did I watch Slop News Network new video? Is he the guy who has that obese cat cartoon avatar? I did not. If they're the person who does code review alongside Coding Jesus, that shit doesn't mean anything to me. It's a great video. For a layman, for someone who literally knows nothing about coding. Even Chud tried to understand the coding shit? Yeah, but did he? There's the thing. If I watch a video of someone speaking in another fucking language and try to deduce from pattern recognition the rules of their language, the degree to which these things are arbitrary means that I could easily fool myself into thinking I understand when I don't. I imagine the same is similar for coding, especially if you're a total layman. So, even if it feels very strongly like I understand, or that I understand his explanation for layman, I could be totally misled and I would have no idea. Right? Developer examines pirate software, Part 2. DRM analysis and code reviews.
Alright, let's start diving.
I can take a peep. Bam.
Alright, let's start diving.
Look at Part 1.
Alright, so I'm sure many of you have heard of Jason Thor Hall, better known
Yep.
online as Pirate Software, due to all the surrounding drama related to Stop Killing Games. This video isn't about the Stop Killing Games drama.
Well, I mean, I heard about him way before that. I think most people heard about him because the shorts were rammed up their butthole by YouTube by force.
do support the Stop Killing Games initiative, and anyone in the EU currently watching this should go and sign up to care about game preservation. This video is going to be a review of Jason's job history, game dev industry claims, coding ability, and his heartbound and champion of breakfast DRM solutions by me, a developer.
Heartbound and fucking what?
Game dev industry claims, coding ability, and his heartbound and champion of breakfast DRM solutions
Champions of Breakfast DRM solution.
by me,
okay.
a developer. I won't be touching on his hacking skills much in this video, since from what I found, all of his DEF CON wins were team efforts, and all of the stories related to hacking are just that, stories. Outside of his word, I generally can't find anything related to it. There is
I've seen claims that his specialty is social engineering, but I don't believe it. Based on what I've done to him and that he doesn't know I've done to him.
anything concrete or of substance in these stories for me to
Anyway.
actually analyze and review. If anyone knows where he actually has hacking write-ups or knows the VODs where he actually does something related to hacking, let me know and I can do a separate video going through and reviewing it. Okay, with that out of the way, let's start with Jason's LinkedIn job history. So, if we look at his LinkedIn, we can see his
Alright.
first recorded job experience is from 2002 to 2009, where he was a freelance security
Various clients. My local bakery had a Facebook. I taught them how to recover their password.
researcher and developer. In 2002, Jason would have been 15, and from what I found, he hasn't taken any program classes, so anything he knows at this point is largely self-taught. Another important thing is Jason actually had a job in 2004 that isn't listed here as a quality assurance intern at Blizzard.
I went to Blizzard in 2004, and this is kind of my whole career, right? My first job I got through nepotism, 100%. My dad worked at Blizzard.
I haven't seen that clip. This motherfucker complains that you cannot complain about... What the fuck? Sorry, I'm stun-locked. I haven't seen that one. You cannot have a clip of you saying that out there and then cry when people call you a nepo baby. It's over. Even if you're half joking, it's over. Once you've said that, you can never, ever, ever complain about being called a nepo baby or getting your job because of who your dad is. I believe that's the connection, right? You can't complain anymore after you've said that.
For 23 years. He worked at Blizzard for 23 years, so I got a job there in 2004. I was shit. I was shit at this, and I realized I was...
Hold on one goddamn second. I never searched his channel for the word nepotism. Never did it. I'm curious, how often does he say it? Ba ba ba.
Thor had one job, and he was a nepotism hire. They're trying to say that you shouldn't turn in a resume and cover letter because of that? That's so goddamn funny, dude. I did not have one job. I worked at Blizzard, then I worked at Amazon Game Studio, then I worked for the United States Department of Energy.
Wait, so the first one was the job you got through nepotism? Was your experience relevant to you getting hired at any future, or in any future position at other places? Curious.
Nepotism, never accomplished anything in their career, and never did anything to deserve the position that they have. My father was the cinematic director for Blizzard for 23 years.
Fair enough. My security job wasn't through nepotism, yada yada.
From nepotism or some shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. You don't get to hack power plants for the federal government from nepotism. You don't get to win 3 black badges from DEF CON from nepotism. You don't get to be a senior red team specialist or an automation engineer from nepotism. It doesn't really work that way. You actually have to know what you're doing and do things correctly.
You sound like a con man when you talk like that. Just saying. That doesn't work on, people who have any life experience. You just sound like the Navy SEALs copy pasta, which immediately makes me doubt you.
The job because of nepotism, because my dad had worked at Blizzard for 23 years. I went freelance for 5 years. Had a lot of success doing that, and then failed a business engagement on it because I was a dumbass and I was spending all my money.
Hang on.
Went homeless for a year.
Hold up.
I had worked at Blizzard for 23 years. I went freelance for 5 years. Had a lot of success doing that, and then
Hang on.
a business engagement on it because I was a dumbass and I was spending all my money. Went home.
Generating.
See, I went to college to be an entomologist.
That's kind of based. He was going to be a bug man. He realized he didn't need to go to college to become a bug man and just did it independently.
I dropped out because I didn't like the direction that would take my career. I went to work at Blizzard. I left Blizzard because I got the job because of nepotism. Because
I haven't heard that claim before. He says he left Blizzard because he got that job thanks to nepotism. That's new to me. Is that new to anyone else? I left because I got in through nepotism.
because of him, it was a nepotism job. And I worked as a game tester on World of Warcraft Vanilla, and I sucked ass. I was terrible. So I left after that 6 months, and I went and did freelancing work for 5 years. I went and moved out. Yeah, no, I totally did. I absolutely got it, and it was awful. It sucked. It wasn't a programming. It wasn't a programming job. I was a game tester.
Hang on, what do we have here? Hold on. Don't let it. I'll put this on screen for you. Might be an interesting quote. Might not be. Let's see.
And I was an automation engineer working at Amazon. And then I quit that and I worked for the United States Department of Energy and I hacked power plants for the federal government. And like, yeah, that's like my whole career. And now I do this, you know? So yeah, nepotism can be a thing in your life, but I'm going to be real with you. Don't let it be, because you'll never know who you are and what you are capable of. And you'll have doors closed on you because somebody didn't like the person that you got the job from because of that association. And
that's ungrateful as fuck! What the fuck? Okay, I got my Blizzard job through nepotism. I left because I got it through nepotism. Don't let nepotism be a thing in your life, because you'll get fucked because of people's opinion on the person who got you in the door. That's kind of a fuck you dad comment. What the hell? What did you miss out on as a result of your dad getting you into Blizzard?
You'll have doors open for you that you're not ready for, and you have no business having, frankly. And it's just like a normal thing, man. Yeah. Which one did you enjoy the most? Hacking power plants for the federal government. That shit was rad, dude. I worked for the DOE. It was awesome, frankly.
What else we got? Alright. He says over and over and over and over again that he got to work at Blizzard through nepotism. How the fuck? I've never searched it on his channel before. Dozens and dozens and dozens of live streams he has said, I got a position at Blizzard through nepotism. And now he bitches that people call him a nepo baby? No, no, no. You do not get to complain.
That is a WoW guy. Are you nepotism, baby? So, when I first started my career, it was completely about nepotism. It was. My first job I got at Blizzard Entertainment was in 2004 on World of Warcraft Vanilla. I was a game tester on WoW Vanilla. And I got that job because of nepotism, because of who my dad is, because he'd been there.
Are you a nepo baby? He's asked in 2003, 1st of December 2003, are you a nepo baby? His response is, my first ever job was purely the result of nepotism. That sounds like a yes to me, and now he's complaining? Sorry, 2023. Did I say 2003?
For 23 years. And I sucked at it. I was shit. 100% shit. So I left.
The job was 2004.
For 5 years, I worked freelance. Went and learned a whole bunch of stuff. I actually played the game called Second Life for all that time, and I learned LSL, Linden scripting language.
I played Second Life, and that got me into a fucking national security gig.
I made 3D models, textures, learned about database engineering, learned about network infrastructure, learned about testing stuff in a live environment, learned about interacting with players, everything that I could possibly do in that. And then I came back to Blizzard in 2009 and I applied.
I was informed that his ferret shit is not a charity. I thought it was because the Rivals of Aether thing, the Rivals of Aether 2 thing I learned about, they talked about donating some percentage of what people spent on the game for a certain time period to it. I presumed it was legally a charity. It's fucking not.
And I got the job. And nobody knew that he was my dad during that. No one knew that he was my dad until 2013 when I was leaving QA and joining Galnet. And they only found out about that because I was talking to him in the middle of the quad on, near Building 1, which is where...
Alright, whatever. Okay.
People to be referred by, I hate nepotism. Are you able to...
Wait a second. I mean, he's saying he quit
advice?
because he was nepotism, but... Okay. You appear to have... Notice. The story is, he got a job through nepotism, and he was fucking shit, so he left. He loves the idea of nepotism, doesn't like it if it exposes him as a fraud. That's what we've actually been shown and told. In some instances he says he left because it was through nepotism, but in most of these clips he's saying, I got the job because of who my dad was, and I was shit, so I left. If you wouldn't have had to have confronted your shortcomings, would you have left? I don't think so. You hate nepotism because of your personal experience. You wouldn't have hated it if it worked out for you. I bet. Anyway, let's get back to this guy's video. Went on a bit of a tangent there.
Problem was we had a 7-person team and 4 people quit at the same time to go make their own security firm. So they took my 10 weeks a year of travel, because I had to fly around the country 10 weeks a year and not be at home and live out of like hotels and shit. And they're like, hey, so you know that 10 weeks a year? That's going to be 30 weeks a year now. And I was like, no, it ain't. Like, no, it ain't, dude. There's no way there that is going to happen. And they were like, well, what do you want to do then? I was like, I'm going to quit. And I remember the day that I quit, it was so freaking funny because I was on a government-issued laptop so they can see everything that you're doing. And I'm writing this email, and I'm writing my resignation letter. And my boss calls me.
I hate his little fucking Blues Clues special needs sketches. You need to stop.
And he goes, what are you doing? And I'm like, writing a letter. And he goes, what's the letter? And I go, it's my resignation letter. And he goes, I'm sorry you feel that way. And he hangs up on me. And then HR calls me and they're like, hey, okay, so we got to work this out. I was like, yep. Yeah, I'm quitting. And she's like, okay, here's all the process for it. And I never talked to him again. That was it. That was the last conversation I ever had with him.
What if I'm working on a super sick nepotism job, except I'm fully qualified for what it is. It's just that sometimes you need connections to get in somewhere. Just what it is.
It's like a whole thing, dude.
Pacife. That's a good point.
Streamer at $10
Hold up.
Game dev here, it's extra insane because the first job was jump up and down in a spot 50 times to see if you fall through the floor. How the fuck did he need nepotism to get the job and suck?
True. The job he's saying he couldn't handle and was terrible at was QA. I'm not saying that there is an expertise to QA. I've listened to many people who work QA. I've done volunteer testing on games like Face of Mankind in the past. There's a crazy one. I'm sure you've all heard from fucking like Wooly of Two Best Friends Play about QA jobs and stuff. And the more formal stuff. Sure. But to be totally fucked by it to the point that you quit and don't rise to the challenge to learn. And then your next job is hacking power plants. I think maybe we're not getting the right snapshot.
Yeah, it was super weird. They can see everything you're doing on those laptops. You know, it's government shit. Did you catch the end of Prime's conference speech last night? No, dude, I was sleeping. I was so zonked. It was rough.
Daddy Dills
No.
19 with 500
What?
bits said, hey Thor. As we know your favorite ant, I was wondering, do you have a favorite spider? My personal favorite's a trapdoor
Trapdoor.
species.
Yes. Trapdoor. Yeah. Same.
Which one? Do you count Cyclocosmia as a trapdoor spider? Because that shit's real cool. They have an abdomen. Or rather, I should say an opistosoma nowadays, with updated terminology, that looks like it's been sliced in half.
Super same. I love trapdoor spiders. They're so weird. They're super interesting. Those and jumping spiders. Jumping spiders are super neat. I think jumping spiders probably might win it
Which species?
out for me, mostly because they're highly intelligent. Insanely so. The reason why jumping spiders are so intelligent...
If you want to see it. Ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. They have like
Did you
a
know
butt.
that
Look,
Cyclocosmia is a genus of spiders
see?
in the
The butt looks like it's sliced in half, man.
Tenozidae
Your favorite spider is Nettle? Nettle was a Grammostola rosea.
family? The abdomens of spiders in this genus are abruptly truncated and in.
Which is so interesting. They had to evolve a larger brain to be able to function with those
Spiders don't have brains.
eyes. And by doing so...
That's just not true. Spiders don't have brains. They have sort of like nerve bundles that act like a decentralized brain. Spiders don't have brains.
they gained other attributes, such as being able to identify human beings and individually identify those human beings as separate entities from each other, which is...
I ain't never fucking heard that in my life. I would have to... Ooh, you'd have to show me some major research, man.
bonkers shit. Yeah. They're smart. Smart.
I have fucking never come across that.
Larger brain. Yeah, technically not a brain. It's the layman's term for it. Also
Sure.
process data.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But it's not exactly larger either. Larger is also not quite. And you're talking about them recognizing individual humans and remembering them?
Depth. True. And they're wicked fast. Lurg brain. And they
I need to look that up. That's very cool if true. I don't think that's fucking true. Although I'm much more of a tarantula guy.
dance. That's true. They
Which aren't even true spiders, so whatever.
dance. Their dances are quite cute. Do ants feel pain? Yes. Yes, they do.
That's like you're getting into philosophical territory there, brother.
New streamer unlocked. What up, dude? Hades today?
How would you even fucking test jumping spider recognize people? Research indicates they can distinguish between different human faces and remember them. Especially, that's cool. Okay, apparently there's research on it. Apparently it's a result of their recognition of movement patterns. Now we're in the like fucking wishful thinking territory. I'm reading this and it's like I feel that what's really happening is being way overstated. It's like, it reminds me of when people are like, dogs can speak English. Look at this dog that knows 1,000,000 nouns. Because you can say a word and he'll go pick up that thing. It's not quite the same as, like, knowing the language. This shit that goes on with jumping spiders, maybe not quite the same as remembering you as a person. Okay?
Maybe.
The reporting on it suggests that it's at the standard where jumping spiders might be able to recognize faces. I strongly suspect reaches are being made here. Okay. In 2021, researchers discovered that jumping spiders possess biological motion perception, which is the ability to interpret something like a video of moving dots as representing a living thing and not just dots. They display REM-like sleep behavior, suggesting they might even dream. That's fucking big time. You're stretching. You're stretching.
We have a sponsored stream in 3 hours, so that'll be a thing.
Furion 3456 with
Wait, why am I watching this? Wrong video.
Shit.
Also, I think it's important that we talk about his dad for a second. Jason says his dad just worked at Blizzard, but that's grossly understating his dad's role and history at Blizzard. Jason's dad...
Barking spiders? They're Australian, right? And their stridulation is particularly sudden, such that it sounds like a bark, yeah?
is Joey Ray Hall, and from a Reddit AMA his dad held, we can see the following. Joey Ray joined Silicon and Synapses in 1991. Now, you might be asking what Silicon
That's the year I was born.
and Synapses, and what does this have to do with Blizzard in his post? Well, in 1991, Blizzard didn't exist yet. Silicon and Synapses was the original company name, and 1991 was the year it was founded. Joey Ray joined Blizzard before it was Blizzard, and when he joined, there were less than 10 people in total at the company. He wasn't some random Blizzard employee. He was one of the earliest hires at the company. Over his 23 years, he did all sorts of work, and was the one that founded the cinematic team, led the machinima team, the video team, the
Cinemtatics?
video and post-production team, and the esports live broadcast team, plus being responsible for all the video content for every BlizzCon between 2005 to 2014. Plus, he led the
Who cares about this though? Me, because I'm a Spider-Man. I have a genuine interest in spiders, although more specifically tarantulas.
team that made the
Not jumping spiders so much.
famous South
Fed
Park
the
World of
streamer
War.
$5 Superberry. MIT or Oxford got mushrooms to play instruments. Through electroshock.
This is the kind of shit I'm talking about. No! Your field mushroom cannot play the flute.
Warcraft episode, and the inspiration for the He Who Has No Life character. Joey Ray was the director of cinematics at Blizzard. He wasn't some low-level employee that worked at the company. He was pretty high up in the chain. Anyways, back to Jason.
The next 5 years, I left Blizzard. I did not reapply, and I went and worked on my own. I did freelance. I did freelance for everything. So I actually went into Second Life, which is a 3D Worlds game, if you've never played it before. They have a language in it called Linden Scripting Language, and I made games in there. I learned how to do 3D modeling. I learned how to do texture work. I learned how to do scripting. I learned how to engage with people that were playing my games. I learned how to do network model stuff. I learned how to do server-related stuff. I did this for 5 whole years.
So Jason's Second Life period of time is a huge rabbit hole, and there's like 5 or 6 different controversies surrounding his time in Second Life. This video isn't about his controversies and allegations, so I'm going to skip over most of it. The only small parts we care about are related to coding. During his Second Life playing time, he played a character known as Moldavius Figtree and started a company called Dark Spear Creations.
God. It's like Fagin as a furry.
He claims he did game program with the Linden scripting language, the programming language of Second Life, and made some small games and some user-generated content for Second Life. While digging into this, I didn't find any proof he coded any games. What Darksphere Creations and his company was actually doing at the time was creating not safe for work adult
Black Balls Creations.
furry
Dark
avatars
Sphere,
and selling
come
them.
on.
Basically, his friend Wingless Emote, another Second Life player, would do the art and modeling for the furry avatars, and Jason would do some coding on top. What kind of coding he did on top of these avatars isn't exactly clear. Then they would sell the avatars, and eventually the business was making somewhere around $10,000 a month, primarily due to selling these avatars. There's some other controversy where it alludes to Jason trying to do dev work on Linden Labs projects and other game worlds, but I can't find any solid proof, just random posts and accusations. So in summary, there doesn't seem to be any proof he did any kind of game development or hacking during this period of time. Let's get back to Jason.
Honestly, though, considering it would be Second Life furry goon material, I think it's to his credit that he may not have actually done that.
Then I came back to Blizzard in 2009, and I applied. Not having his help in any way, I got the job.
Okay, the timeline here starts matching up with his LinkedIn. After his little detour with Darksphere Creations and working for himself, Jason now has an actual full-time job at Blizzard in 2009. This is his first official full-time job at Blizzard, and he is once again a quality assurance analyst. Jason claims he...
Oh, so he ended up... Hang on. So there was a 2004 nepotism job, and what, is the 2009 one not nepotism?
got into the company.
Well, he says people only... Wait. Hold up! He said that the 2004 employment at Blizzard, the brief employment at Blizzard, was pure nepotism. He's also claimed that people only knew they were related. What, 2013 or something, way later? Was he hired directly by his father? Such that other people wouldn't be aware that's happening, or what?
On his own merits this time, but I find that a bit hard to believe at face value. In 2004, he said he was terrible at his QA role, and that's why he quit. I searched to see if he studied anything IT related in high school or in college or during the time gap, and I found this from his subreddit. Jason did spend some time in college studying to be an entomologist with a specialization in ants. He dropped out of college without ever finishing his studies, and it doesn't seem like he ever took any IT related courses during this time here. During that 5-year gap between 2004 and 2009, the only experience he said in the clip from earlier was his Second Life programming, and well, that wasn't exactly quality assurance or hacking or game development work. Plus, while applying in 2009, on his resume he would probably have had, or Blizzard itself would have had, a record he worked there previously as a QA. So that would make applying a second time for a similar position easier. His dad, once again, was a pretty high person in the company, and some people might remember Jason being Joey Ray's son from before. It's not impossible he got in on his own merits, just a bit hard to believe considering he doesn't have experience with any real program languages at this point, and he doesn't have any degrees or certificates. Okay, back to his LinkedIn and and his job. So he held the role for 3 years and 2 months, and once again, this was his quality assurance role. One thing Jason often does is he claims all QA are developers. First, as someone that has worked QA myself, this isn't true. I'm not saying QA aren't important, but the majority of QA generally are non-technical, and only a small portion are. At most of the places I worked at, QA generally has no coding ability and are tasked with doing manual regression testing. Basically, they get a series of test cases they need to go through, and each test case has a written out set of instructions they just follow. If something doesn't match the case steps, then a bug is filed and actual developers are tasked with addressing it. So I personally wouldn't call his 3 years at this position game development experience. And if we look at the bullet points he has on his LinkedIn, besides one line, namely,
he's trying to launder his Nepo baby job into legit experience. Very obviously, I would suggest.
The design and create an automated system, there's nothing here that even remotely implies he was coding or doing any kind of development. I'm making this point since Jason often claims he was a game developer at Blizzard for 7 years, but his first 3.5 years didn't include any developer roles. Also, to address his if QA didn't do their jobs, games wouldn't be released argument, most games have music. If a musician doesn't complete the OST, a game can't be released. Does that mean they're now developers too? Just because you say
Slop News Network, I have terrible news. Some people do in fact absolutely argue that. And it's retarded, but they do.
something confidently in a deep voice doesn't make it true. Moving on to his next role, we have quality assurance hacks. Here he mentions he did some forensic analysis and detected threats. Also, something I'd like to note, all of his game projects listed here were coded using primarily the C++ programming language. This is a low-level programming language. This will be important a bit later in the video. As for the role, again, I wouldn't call this game development experience. This is more related to security work than game development itself. And from the bullet points, it doesn't seem like Jason was doing much coding. His next role for 6 months was test engineer. My opinions are pretty much the same as the previous role he held. Moving on, we have the next role as security engineer for 11 months. This one is interesting. Since the bullet points here notes he managed web application security, for those that don't know what web applications are, it means he was working on websites and not games. There's no mention of programming here or what tools and languages he used. But regardless, this is without a doubt a non-game development role and doesn't have any overlap with game development. Okay, next up he moves to another security engineer role for 3 months. Again, same opinions as his last job. Now, his last role at Blizzard was a red team member. Red team is a common IT term that just means someone inside the company that attempts to hack into their systems, either digital or physical. So Red Hats basically try to make hacks and show how they got access. So these vulnerabilities and issues can be addressed before real hackers can abuse them. Now, while Red Hat is offensive security and hacking, it doesn't always mean you're programming like you see with those green terminals and pics. If we look at the bullet points Jason has listed, we can see he did exploiting physical access controls and social engineering operations. Social engineering is actually one of the most common ways hackers gain access to systems, and it doesn't have to involve any programming at all.
Discussing this is the first time I've seen, because I never looked at his LinkedIn because I did not give a shit.
Social engineering attacks are something like the following situation. Let's say Jason in this example is a social engineer and his target is a fellow Blizzard employee with access to the game servers. He could call them or email them from a legitimate Blizzard phone number or email and say he needs their account credentials. Normally, you would never share live in production account credentials, even if someone from your own company. But let's say Jason...
Yes, this happens all the time. Without doxing anyone or anything, in various contexts, including recently, I've heard about this. I am aware of corporate espionage strategy in defense contracting even. Something a bit more serious than Blizzard, and the strategies used there. Yeah.
Manages to convince the employee to hand the credentials over. Now Jason has a way to log into the system he shouldn't have access to. This is a social engineering attack. It's not technical hacking like most people think of. It's generally just being convincing enough and getting employees to hand over info or access they shouldn't be giving out. Alright, with all of that, and with all those jobs, we have 6 years and 6 months at Blizzard full-time for...
My face when it turns out that Para Software was just the guy in IT who sends the fake phishing email. That when you ignore it, IT sends you a little good job email.
Jason, and if we include his time as a QA intern in 2004, we basically have his 7 years of experience at Blizzard accounted for. Judging by everything he has written here, it seems as though he's never held an actual game developer position and he's never done any game development directly. All of his roles at Blizzard were either QA, website security, or social engineering, basically his hacking. It doesn't seem like he's ever touched C++, which is the industry standard language to use when doing game development. But before I finish my thoughts on this, let's check out one more job after Blizzard. After Blizzard, Jason worked at Amazon Games for 8 months as an automation engineer. engineer. Again, he wasn't a game developer here. He also didn't include much
I have, I'm aware of some light lore regarding corporate espionage at BAE Systems, by the way. I think I can say that much without anyone getting too mad at me.
information under his bullet points. He did documentation of vulnerabilities and did some automation work with Python. This is the first officially recorded line that actually shows he did some programming. Python is
Real shit, not World of Warcraft loot tables being stolen, okay?
what we call a high-level language, meaning the language is designed to be easy for humans to read and understand as well as to write. Python is a wonderful language, and I'm not throwing any shade at it, but Python is not a language used to create games. Technically, yes, you can code games in Python. Big drawback is it's an incredibly slow language. This is why the industry standard language for game development is C++, a low-level language that allows for incredible performance. The trade-off is it's a significantly more difficult language to work with. The reason I went through his job history so far and his programming language list is because Jason often claims he's a 20-year veteran of the game dev industry, and he was a game developer at Blizzard for 7 years, and he uses these claims to make himself seem like an authority and expert on game
constantly. Yes, as demonstrated on screen. He might try to downplay the degree to which he relies on his credentials, but no, it's who you are. It's why people were listening to you.
development and game-related topics, namely stop killing games. But from the looks of it, and in my opinion, it doesn't seem to me he's ever worked as an actual game developer within the industry, and it doesn't seem like he's ever done much program work in the industry either. I'm not throwing shade at any of the jobs listed here so far. I'm just trying to be absolutely clear that none of this, in my opinion, as someone that has worked on game engines and done game development, none of this counts as game development experience, with a lot of his roles having absolutely nothing to do with game development itself at all. To help make this clearer, here's another example to help everyone understand. It's like someone working at a hospital and doing payroll work, but because they're at a hospital, they claim to be a qualified doctor. It doesn't make any sense. Jason is making a giant leap.
Fair analogy. Some people will balk at that still. They'll complain, well, obviously the doctor's the most important person. Are you saying the person who does the music isn't important? Blah, 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 blah. But we all get what he's saying.
With
not everyone who works at a place where a certain specialized role occurs, or is done, is that role, obviously.
his I'm a game developer for 7 years at Blizzard claims. Anyways, let's go back to his LinkedIn and see what's next. Here we have that he was a cybersecurity specialist at Eagle Research Group. Based on Jason's stories,
penetration testing, that's what he does at the ferret rescue as well, isn't it?
this should be when and where he was technically working for the government. There isn't a whole lot of information here, and with most of the bullet points being extremely generic. Since he claims this was government-related work, I think it's perfectly reasonable to assume he has NDAs, or he might not be able to give any specifics related to his work here.
And then when I did that, I went to the United States Department of Energy, and I hacked power plants for the federal government.
Jason makes a lot of claims being a hacker, and has told a lot of stories, but I could never find anything to back up his hacking claims. So far, the only thing I found was he did do some social engineering attacks at Blizzard. Now, some of you might know about his DEF CON stories and his Mr. Robot claims. I'll probably cover those in a separate video. The reason is all of his DEF CON wins were done in teams of 10 people, never solo. And for his other hacking claims,
I didn't realize the teams were that big either.
there's only stories to go off of. To keep this video from being too long and off topic, I'll save his hacking claims for its own thing. Okay, his next set of experience is at his own company, also named Pyrosoft.
I was thinking, like, people were being too harsh, maybe. I was imagining, like, group of 3, maybe 4 max. I didn't realize it was a group of 10.
But before we touch on that, let's talk about his more recent job experience at Off-Brand Games first, since that's a smaller topic to cover. Off-Brand Games is a game publishing company founded by
He was director of strategy. He claimed that his primary responsibility was deciding international pricing, I believe.
Ludwig and Jason. I'm not entirely sure if Jason is a co-founder or not. Jason claims he isn't, but most posts and Ludwig's posts talking about the company seem to imply he is. Whether or not he's a co-founder isn't too important. Jason's role at the company is director of strategy. From Jason's comments on the matter, he basically helps indie game developers negotiate contracts. Again, no direct game development work here. Also, fun fact, the very first game Off-Brand Games was co-publishing was Rivals of Aether 2. A game by the developer's own words was built this time around as a more live service game. Really makes you think why you might not want to stop killing games to succeed. Also, don't throw any hate at Rivals of Aether 2. They actually do have an end-of-life plan to keep the game playable and alive for the community after it ends. The same...
I think this gives him too much credit. I think this frames his opposition as a matter of rational self-interest. and does not put enough spotlight on the fact that he is blatantly a born and bred corporate cocksucker, regardless of his direct personal interests.
Goes for the rest of
Also, should be mentioned that Rivals of Aether 2 fundraised for his ferret rescue.
the off-brand published games. Don't throw them any hate. Okay, we're gonna take just one more detour before we get to the Pirate Software Company. Let's check out Jason's GitHub and see if there's any code for us to review there. For those of you that don't know what GitHub is, it's basically
I can't hashtag tie the knot because that shit makes me want to throw up. But like,
basically the site where developers store their code bases and development teams can work together on a code base. In Jason's case, his code bases would be tied to his games. Okay, so here's Jason's GitHub account, and he has 0 public projects on his account and 0 activity for the year of 2025. Okay, the no public repos doesn't exactly prove anything.
true, he literally has a skin in the game.
And
True.
you don't need to have public repos, but most active developers do have something at least. Also, let me point out, GitHub does have an option of having private repos, which are code bases not viewable by users not part of the team. But GitHub also has the option to show activity on private repos on your profile without leaking any private repo data. Again, this doesn't prove anything, but it's incredibly odd to see a self-proclaimed developer and hacker have 0 public code on his GitHub and 0
You doubt he's super malicious? The private part DMCA makes me suspect otherwise, personally.
activity on his account. Let's try 2020.
My awareness of his other conduct means, like, it's in your fucking best interest to not fucking trust that he has any good intentions. Like, you know, there's buy me, you know, like, fucking fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But fool someone else once, shame on you. If he then fools you, it still applies, even if he hasn't fooled you more than once. You get what I'm saying? We've seen what he does. The private part stuff, read the letters from Private Part's lawyer. If you don't understand how fucked what he was doing was. Just how unlawful it was, and just how ridiculous his public statements about it were, having received those letters. Really bad. I cannot... Having looked into that, I can't give him benefit of the doubt on anything, ever again. Because of how bad I think that is.
2024, and there's nothing. Okay, 2023. Oh, I see some activity, and it's bug reports. He has made 4 bug reports and some feature requests, 0 coding to review for 2023. Okay, let's try 2022. All right, I see 2 green dots. And again, it's 2 bug reports, no code to check over. All right, 2021, I'm feeling lucky, and there's nothing. Okay, 2020, he's applying to be a part of the live coders list. All right, last year to check, 2019, and his only activity is he joined January 13, 2019. Man, that was disappointing. Over 7 years of having a GitHub account, he seems to have done 0 public coding, with a grand total of 6 bug reports. Again, this doesn't prove anything too much, but most professional developers and hackers generally have something on their accounts, even if it's just super...
Well, Glitter Farm, the DMCA for something that wasn't even in the game, it gets worse. It gets worse. He sent a fucking lackey to fuck with Private Part's mind and trick him into thinking he had to back down. They were informed of why it was unlawful. They were informed that Private Part's promise not to incorporate their voice lines was retracted. And then after that point, he claimed that the only reason the DMCA was released and they didn't claim him again was because he promised not to use the voices. Except that's not true. That was retracted. It was repeatedly said to them that they were considering pursuing that on the basis that they believed it would be protected under fair use. But Pirate Software didn't make any comment on that, refused, pretended it stopped at where it was like a week prior when actually far more development had occurred that he was certainly aware of. He was very obviously only backing off because he knew he would get fucking raped if he didn't drop the DMCA. They were originally planning on taking their time releasing it. Lawyer contacts him, warns him that he'll be fucking liable because under Lens, he did not make a good faith effort to consider fair use before he made the claim. He stated that he made the claim to protect his likeness in a case of misappropriation of likeness versus merely protecting his copyright, so on and so forth. And then he just pretended, actually it was a private agreement. He said he wouldn't use our voice and that's why we released it and that's why we didn't claim him again. Bullshit. definitely 100% fucking malicious. He knows that's not the true story. He wants people to believe it is. It's fucked.
Minor stuff like their settings for their favorite text editor
Anyway,
or
back to
application.
this.
Jason could have a separate personal account where he does all his work, but the entire thing is just incredibly strange.
Private Parts actually only backed down because he doesn't have the wallet to fight it. He doesn't have the wallet to risk it or to pursue him for damages as a result of a false DMCA. Pirate Software wants people to believe they worked it out privately and it was just, a friendly agreement not to use his voice. No. Private Parts was advised by his lawyer that they had about a 60% chance of winning, maybe more, maybe less. And that it would come down to a battle of the wallet, so he couldn't risk it. That's what it was. Moldavius Fig Tree crushed that guy with his money. It is not the story he told. It's bullshit.
And unusual. Just about every tech YouTuber and streamer has a GitHub account with some random projects scattered around. Anyways, finally with all those positions and GitHub stuff out of the way, let's finally get to Pirate Software, the company, and Jason's actual game development start. Let's take a look at his game dev skills, his game dev execution. With all his bragging, I'm sure this is going to be an incredible story with no issues at all. Alright, so his first game his studio published was a game called Champions of Breakfast. This was a game roughly built in 8 months in the Game Maker engine. This was the first game that Jason claimed had the unpirateable DRM, where basically the game's Steam achievements acted as a save file. I'll touch on all these points again in just a bit, keep them in mind, while I move to his next and only other game, Heartbound. So, Heartbound is the big game Pirate Software is known for, and it has a crazy development history. So, according to the wiki, Heartbound's first
Crazy.
was October
Fucking long.
7th, 2015. Again, this game was also made in Game Maker. It's a 2D game that's mostly story
Game Maker.
driven with extreme similarities to Undertale, and is supposed to have 5 acts or chapters in total. A Kickstarter for the game was launched on February 24th, 2017, roughly a year and a half after work originally started on it. The original goal was to have the game finished and released by December 2017, but shortly after the launch, it was claimed the game was to be fully complete and released in early to mid 2018. A few months later, the goal was once again changed and now was targeting early access on Steam in December 2018. The game did land on Steam in December of 2018. In early access, this release contained a chapter 1 that was complete, with a basically near fully done chapter 2. Gee, I hope this doesn't become a trend with delays, failed promises, and shifts in goals. Surely Jason will complete this game in a few more years, right? At the very start of January 2019, they released a patch where in the patch notes it said Animus, the name of chapter 3, was being developed, and this is where everything started truly going to hell.
I swear I've heard him recently, or seen him recently, as in within the past few hours or days, saying that Animus is almost done.
Now, we have a few things we should note here. This is technically the 3rd year of development if we're going off the October 2015 first build date. If we compare this to Undertale, Undertale completed development in 2 years, 7 months, with Toby Fox doing most of the development solo.
Nah, fuck that. Compare this guy to Sungrand. Sungrand can drop a game to Africa every month.
With some help
Or
from Tammy
sooner.
Chang on art. Also, let's just take a quick look at the How Long to Beat site and see how much content Undertale has. Okay, the main story is 7 hours. With side content, it's roughly 11 hours. A completionist run is 20.5 hours. Okay, pretty good and respectable times for an indie game built in 2 years, 7 months. Heartbound, as of 2025, is still in active development. So let's take a look at how much content time they have. Alright, the main story is 2.5 hours. With side content, it's 3 hours. And a completionist run is 3.5 hours. The Pirate Software team has been working on this game for 10 years, currently more than 3 times as long as the Undertale team. And the Pirate Software team has 1 additional team member. Yeah, just think about that for a moment. Anyways, let's start diving through 2019.
You don't understand, guys. He's explained, okay? He's explained. The problem is, writing takes a long time, and then he has to have it localized into 15 different languages.
And chapter 3.
That's all the time for the game, okay? Alright. Sorb finally caught the fly. I mean, infinite monkey rape. Infinite monkey rape is not what I was trying to say. Infinite monkeys on infinite typewriters with infinite time are gonna, write the full unabridged work of Shakespeare with no flaws eventually. She was gonna always catch a fly. I wouldn't credit her with skill.
Animus development. For most of 2019, it seems like there was steady progress on Chapter 3 with various patches over the year, so far saying additional content was added. On October 2019, Jason tweeted that roughly 86% of Chapter 3 has now been completed. Then 2 years later, Jason tweets that Chapter 3 is now 92% done. So over 2 years, he made 8% progress on one chapter. 20 years of game dev industry experience, people, and 7 years working at Blizzard. Okay, let's rewind and go back to 2020 and see the Twitch statistics and see what was happening. Okay, the start of 2020 up till March seems like a normal stream schedule. Seems like he caught a cold on March 10th. Then after 9 days, he goes to urgent care and is diagnosed with pneumonia and gets a COVID test.
Right.
Then we move to March 21st and COVID
He had a cough recently as well.
test results come back and it's negative. No COVID, just pneumonia. Wait, never mind. March 24th, Jason goes back to urgent care. Pneumonia was incorrectly diagnosed and he actually has severe bronchitis. Alright, March 30th, he's still sick, but once again confirms negative for COVID. This is really important. Alright, a few days later, April 10th, and his cold status is defeated and we're good to go. I know I'm being semi-joking in this section, but I generally don't wish Jason any health issues. Alright, so then we move on to April 11th, 2020, and work on Heartbound has restarted.
No, I want him to be patient zero for the next COVID. Sorry, actually, I want him to be the origin of the next Wuhan flu.
Work is continuing over the next few days. According to tweets, most of April was good, so was most of May 2020. We're still working on Heartbound at this
It
point.
wasn't COVID, it was fifth puberty.
Again, nearly all of the May prog is on Heartbound. Then we skip all the way over to July 2020, and work on Heartbound is still progressing. Seemed like there's some trouble during September, October, and November.
Samwise Gamgee asking, but what about second puberty?
With December being fine, and so is January of 2021 being fine. Then we hit February 2021, and then he tweets out he has had COVID for 9 months since the start of February of 2020. Wait, what? Jason was only sick in March according to his own tweets at that time period, and there's work from
It took me roughly 9 months to recover. He had a COVID baby, and I have permanent lung damage and an inhaler for the rest of my life. Every morning, to wake up, I have to have my arms broken just to make me feel alive.
20. Wait,
And every night, I break my legs climbing the stairs into bed.
what? Jason was only sick in March according to his own tweets at that time period, and there's work from February from earlier, and there's proof he worked during April, May, June, July, and August at the very least, judging by his Twitch stats and his Steam announcements and patches for the game. It seems the only major slowdown of streams and work was 3 months of September, October, and November. Where he lost 9 months of time and had to stop development based on his tweets, I have no idea. I mean, it's not like he's going to change his story after this, right? Oh wait, there's this old tweet from November 2020 where Jason says he was recovering for nearly
After nearly 8 months of recovery, my lungs are well enough to stream and work on a daily basis again. Thank you for all the support and good vibes getting me back here. I mean, pneumonia, whatever the cause, is no joke. It will knock you out for a while. You remember, I mean, relatively recently I've had COVID. Back in like 2019, I had severe pneumonia, and I just didn't stream for a fucking month. But, patchy schedule and like the way he's talked about it, clearly there are contradictions, which means, you know, something he said ain't right.
8 months and couldn't daily stream.
Like, imagine this in a vacuum, this statement alone, okay, but with everything else, with previous information, with saying it was COVID this whole time, with saying you got 1 billion tests done, it's not COVID, with saying no work, with having it be some work, with talking about only a daily basis, blah, 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 blah. What's real? I don't know.
More work. Let's
Sounds like cope.
look at the
Scrambling.
Twitch stats graph again and his tweets. He couldn't work during this period, but everything he posts during this time says he was working on Heartbound, and his Twitch stats confirm it. So does Steam. I mean, Jason wouldn't lie and change his story and opinions randomly, right? Especially not to his loyal viewers and Heartbound fans. Let's skim the graphs and see what else we can see. Okay, 2021, minus the months of March, April, May, and June, his streaming is extremely good and consistent, with tons of stream days going past 10 hours and some days hitting 16 hours. 2020, about the same for March, April, May, and June, and September, with the rest of the months being slightly less consistent, but still more consistent than not. Then we get to 2023, and this is incredibly consistent with the stream averages being 6 to 8 hours per day. Let's start diving back into Jason's tweets. So on June 2023, he catches COVID again. Okay, that seems to match up with his Twitch stats graph. Here there's a
Alright.
clear week gone. Let's see what Jason says in July.
That was a hell of a thing. That's the second time I've gotten COVID. The first time took 9 months to recover. This one took probably about, I think it was in total about 20 days. So
There is no point in time in 2020, 2021, 2022, or 2023 where you lost 9 months consecutively or stopped development for that period
To be fair, in that clip, he says it took 9 months of recovery. In that clip, he doesn't say that meant no
of
work.
time in
Hang
2020,
on.
2021, 2022, or
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
so
there's
took 9 months to recover. This one took probably about, I think it was in total about 20 days. So
there's no point in time in 2020,
And he'd referred to it as ongoing long-term effects that would require an inhaler.
2021, 2022, or 2023 where you lost 9 months consecutively or stopped development for that period of time. He also in the clip claimed he got COVID twice in total. So that doesn't explain why there's 4 sections of gaps on development, since all these gaps are months apart and he only had
That's
COVID
more
twice.
like it.
Let's skip ahead to June
That's more like it. That's the good stuff.
2024 and see what he says about these 4 years of development.
how long have you been working in this game? Was the coding a solo job? Yeah. Nobody else has touched the code base for Heartbound ever except for me. It's just me. I've been working on it for about 7 years, but I lost 2.5 years to COVID.
Okay, I hope at this point you realize
What?
his excuses for not
2.5 years? What do you mean? I lost 4 years to COVID. I was in a coma from 2020 to 2024.
working on Heartbound, and his tweets are filled with complete BS. Once again,
I have over 20 years of experience in the COVID coma industry.
he stopped development in 2020, 3 months between September to October, where he had his first COVID period of inactivity. His second COVID was in June 2023. No matter how you try to arrange this and make sense of it, the numbers don't work out. Especially since we can see his 2023, he basically had a perfect stream schedule. And if we look at 2021 and 2022, there were only 2 gaps where he seems to be affected and they're months apart. Jason basically just decided to quit working on his game sometime during 2020 and has been making random excuses since then on why he hasn't made progress. Chapter 3 Animus, the reason we've been going through this chart started all the way back in January of 2019.
Pirate Software is like, please, you have to be gentle with me. After all, I was one of those COVID babies, born while my mother was infected.
If we look at the latest patch in 2025, work on Chapter 3 Animus is still going somehow. We have gone through 6 years of development so far, and Jason hasn't been able to complete 14% of
Strike hot feather.
Can we have
Silver
some of the
$5
writing?
Superberry.
Can we have an
Whoa,
example,
whoa, whoa.
please?
Game Maker.
Game Maker, indeed. You ever seen someone who's played one of those games who is not a homosexual?
Chapter 3. Seriously, what the hell? Remember, Undertale took 2 years, 7 months to finish the full entire game with 3 times as much content as what Heartbound is currently delivering in 2025, with 10 years of development time under its belt. To put this into even more perspective, let's look at Yandere Dev, a developer notorious for having no clue what he's doing programming-wise, and spends the majority of his day responding to emails and maybe spending a few minutes each day working on his game. He makes more progress and more consistently than Jason does. Seriously, I'm not joking. Here's the updated list for Yandere Dev starting in 2020. Yandere Dev has made more progress and more consistently in that year alone than Jason has in the last 5. We just might be living in a timeline where Yandere
Apatello Kerm, whatever, in the YouTube chat says he has no incentive to finish it. His sycophants don't care and he makes bank from streaming. I have seen him state that finishing it would be bad for the people he employs to localize the script and everyone else involved with it. So he doesn't want to rush it because that would rush them out of their job. So really, his slow pace is an act of charity for those individuals.
Dev finishes his game before Jason does. And yes, I might have gone slightly crazy trying to plot 6 years of Animus development with conflicting tweets and time gaps on the Twitch stats graph.
Bit of an abrupt end, but okay. Alright. Hold up. Hold up. Let me see if it was in Discord. I forget what his phrasing was. I forget what the phrasing in the statement was. I don't know how to search. Well, I know how to search, obviously, but I don't know what to search to find it. Ah! So, in a Discord, or in his, sorry, not in a Discord, in his Discord, someone called Darman says, Thor should honestly just take a few months off streaming and other stuff, and just focus on finishing Heartbound so it is in a complete state, and then he can make his dev streams just adding fun little extra stuff. He responded yesterday, like fuck I would, we have 17 employees. Finishing Heartbound doesn't keep them employed. This kind of outlook is telling me to fire everyone for an indie game that is currently getting review bombed, lol. I can't finish the game because everyone who works on it would lose their job. It's the fucking Milton Friedman thing where he suggests, hey, if you want their work to last forever, just have them dig with spoons. Except unironically. I can't finish the job because then the people who work on it for me will become will as a result be unemployed. What else do we have here? I am fine driving the machine to keep these dudes employed. Sure. Just a bunch of blah blah blah. Whatever. You can take a peep at the part 2 that is also half a dangled hour long. My understanding is that overwhelmingly they're translators and localizers, right? Am I out of my mind?
Diving into the DRM analysis for Pirate Software's 2 games, Champions of Breakfast and Heartbound. Let's start with some information about the 2 games and clear up some
Champions of Breakfast.
Winner 1205 fed the streamer a $5 superberry. He is another crew he pays to come in at night and add bugs to the code.
True. Infinite work. Yeah, I'm alright, thanks. I was like, why don't we buy that? Why don't we buy that and give it a spin? And then I looked at Champions of Breakfast. I'm okay. I'm alright. I've played 1 million of these. I've played 100 million of these. I'm okay. I never need to play one of these again. Thanks, but no thanks. Brickadia. $24.99. I ain't touching this. Is Brickadia what's gonna soothe the wound of learning that Hytale isn't happening for people? Yo, so many kids are gonna get molested. This brick game is too detailed. There's 100% gonna be grooming. Look at this shit. My Roblox sense is tingling. Yeah, £24.99 early access. Not fucking touching it. Requires third-party account. I'm good. I'm okay. Let me see how raped I get in the EULA. Insertion is mandatory during all play sessions. What are they talking about there? Insertion of what? Anyway. Back to the video.
Vote 2. Both champions.
Check this one out.
Clue it all.
Champions of Breakfast Cup. I made it in heckin' 2016. Hold up. Hang on. Blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to remember all the Survivor likes. There's 20 minutes till dawn. That was 2023, really? No, I think I had an early access release before that, though. Yeah, and Brotato was also pre-2023, but probably not 2016. What is the, Anyway, what is this clip gonna be?
Clue it all. This game allowed me to learn everything very cheaply and very simply. Why didn't it succeed? Well, it started to, and then I believe Enter the Gungeon came out.
That's not your competition. Different fucking league, bro. Different league.
And basically everyone was like, oh, bullet hell game. And it started to get a little bit popular, started to go in the right direction. And then everyone's like, Enter the Gungeon, go away, other bullet hell game. And it just died, dude.
That's a fantasy. If not for Enter the Gungeon. Come on, man. This is like if I released a MUD and I blamed... If I released a MUD in 2011 and I blamed fucking Skyrim for taking my audience. Come on, dude. Come on. Oh, it's not a Survivors type setup, is it? I thought it was. I guess it's just a, you know, a shmup with roguelike items or roguelite items. Okay. You know what, hold on a fucking second. Shit. Hold on. There was a game called Monolith. I think it was called Monolith, and it had to change its name. Star of Providence is what it's called now. When did this shit come out? Star of Providence, 7th June 2017. When was Champions of Breakfast? And when was... Hang on. When was Enter the Gungeon? April. Okay, so like this was like a year after, so you can't claim competition so well. You can't claim competition so easily. When was Champions of Breakfast? April. So this was before Gungeon. Sure, and then this was after Gungeon. Okay. Fair enough, but... In a Gungeon world. In an Isaac world. I think if your game was more like fucking Star of Providence, it would have done a bit better than it did. Even when released shortly prior to Enter the Gungeon. Which this wasn't. This was released a year after Enter the Gungeon. I don't think Gungeon would have totally choked this game out. I think that's cope that Gungeon strangled Champions of Breakfast. I do not believe it.
Champions of Breakfast and Heartbound were created in the Game Maker engine. Champions of Breakfast is the game Jason claims has the unpiratable DRM.
I tried to find a way so that our game wouldn't get pirated because it'd be easy to pirate it. This is your save file. First start the game up, it actually checks what it
Look up Gungeon's release date. I fucking did on stream. It's like a couple months afterwards or something. April 2016. Wait, I thought it said January. Wait a second. Oh shit, it did come out afterwards! I thought it said fucking 23rd Jan! I thought it said 23rd Jan! Oh, so it's just bullshit. It's not this was taken off, and then fucking Enter the Gungeon came out. No, this came out afterwards. Okay. Yeah. Not even just cope, just wrong.
achievements you have, and it unlocks powers based on your achievements. This is actually the save file for the character, so you can't pirate it because you can never use the achievements. It made it unpiratable, which is deeply hilarious.
So, as you saw, essentially the DRM for Champions of Breakfast is the Steam achievements acting as a quasi-save file. The Heartbound DRM is the following code snippet that Jason has shown live on stream.
True. If you think anything he says is true, you've made a mistake. Doubt yourself.
Multiple times. Now, recently, a lot of people have been posting that Heartbound has always online DRM. That is false. Heartbound does not have always online DRM. The DRM approach does not require online connectivity to function. It'll work just fine with Steam in offline mode. Jason has told the truth in regards to this matter, so he doesn't deserve the online DRM hate he's getting currently. Second, the Steam achievements acting as a save file is only in Champions of Breakfast. Heartbound does not have any dependence on Steam achievements. These are two completely separate DRM solutions. Now, let's start.
I think Binding of Isaac utilizes Steam achievements to allow you to jump your save file forward to the furthest progress you've ever reached if you need to. If there's a disaster, I think there's an option in Binding of Isaac where you can just be like, oh fuck, I lost my save file. Can you just look at my achievements and like jump it forward to where I was? In terms of unlocks, please.
Analyzing the Heartbound DRM code. The important variable we need to pay attention to within the code is on line 3, the global.pirated game variable that is set to 1. Like the variable name suggests, this is what dictates whether or not the game is considered pirated within the game itself.
It tells you to DM him, right? If it's flagged as a pirated copy, it tells you to get in touch with him, right? And he was like, normally it's fucking kids. I love telling kids to get in touch with me privately.
A value of 1 implies the variable has a truthy value. Normally for this type of thing, we'd use a boolean and use true and false as the variable values directly, but we'll leave that aside for now and touch on it again in the code review section. If we continue and move on to line 5, we can see the DRM process.
You get in touch. Normally it's a dumb kid. I give them a copy of my game that gets access to their webcam.
Goes as follows. First, we check to see if Steam is initialized. Once if it's confirmed to be true, the game is considered legitimate, hence line 7. Then at line 13, we check to see if the Steam client is actually a Steam emulation or crack. The double equal sign means we're checking to see if the value of this function is equal to the ASCII string IGG Games. IGG Games is an unsafe piracy group, and they use their name when they package their cracked Steam games. Then we set the game to pirated on line 14 if we confirm it's an IGG Games cracked copy of the game. Now, we move on to line 16 where we check to see if there's a bogus account ID. We also, on line 19, check to see if we have a known Steam app ID that is commonly used in cracks or playing pirated games or mods. If either one of these checks end up being true, we also set the pirated game variable to true. Now, in order for us to break this DRM, the first two problems we have to deal with is the function call of Steam initialized and the Steam DRM that would be included with the actual game. Steam DRM is Steam's own added-on DRM. It is completely separate from the Heartbound DRM we're discussing. Due to legal reasons, I'm not going to directly show what programs to use or how to bypass Steam functions in Steam DRM, but I'll explain a bit about the process and how secure using Steam functions as a form of DRM is. First, let's talk about the Steam DRM. The Steam DRM has been well understood by cracking groups for a very long time.
Alright.
It's so well understood and commonly cracked, there are multiple tool sets built for it and guides, to the point even non-technical users can use them to crack and distribute their own
Okay.
Steam games. This is
Sounds
called
good.
Homebrews, and this is one of the reasons
Let's
there's
go.
so many Steam games that have day one cracks floating around. Next, we have the Steam functions that we saw in the Heartbound DRM code that we need to address for the Champions of Breakfast DRM. For this issue, let's talk about Steam client emulators. These are programs that mimic some legitimate Steam client functions and fake some of the other functionality you expect in the legitimate Steam client. There are numerous Steam client emulators, and I'm not going to touch any of these emulators, but take my word for it that they can easily get through the Steam DRM and the initialized function check.
Fair
and they can
enough.
also mimic the Steam Achievement API, meaning not only can the Steam DRM be bypassed by using these emulators, but they would also allow you to crack and play Champions of Breakfast, plus you'd basically have a save game editor along with the two.
Gotcha.
While we're on the topic of
Okay.
Champions of Breakfast, I was curious how long it took for the game with the unpiratable DRM to be cracked after it was released, and this is what I found. 1 day and 17 hours after the game was released on Steam, there was already a home rip floating around. If you don't consider home rips to be valid, I also checked to see if any known Where's scene groups had a crack for the game. The scene group Simplex has also had a crack for the game floating around for years at this point, so that unpiratable DRM has been soundly defeated multiple times just after launch. Now, with those problems addressed, let's return to the Heartbound DRM code and examine the
Yes,
last problem we need to
let's.
figure out how
Very
to break,
well.
namely
My-
the IGG Games
My colleague in hacking, thank you, yes. Carry on, all seems good.
check and the various ID checks setting the pirated game variable to true. In order to break this, we'll need to do some reverse engineering. To make this reverse engineering and cracking process smoother to explain, I've copied over this snippet of code into a tiny C++ program. The DRM I have in it is in the left pane between lines 13 to 51. Now, you might notice I have a couple functions here between lines 15 to 33. Those are just placeholders. Due to legal reasons, I'm not including the real Steam SDK or functions in my tiny program, or including it within the actual reverse engineering process. Since I already explained how they can be defeated, it's not important to include them in the program. Back to our code, you can see the rest of the DRM matches up basically one-to-one with the DRM snippet we have from Heartbound. Last line to note, I run the DRM check here on line 108 just after the program starts. The rest of my program code doesn't matter too much. I'm basically just using the Windows native Win32 API to create a simple window that will have a red background if the game is pirated, and if it's a legitimate copy, the background will be green. Also, just like the Heartbound DRM
Okay.
code, we start the program assuming to be in a pirated state. Now, I compiled the little app we have, and we have an exe we can run. Let's pretend we don't have the actual source code and just have the exe. So, how do we modify this exe and beat the DRM? In order to modify this exe, we'll need to use what is known as a dissembler plus a debugger. I'll be using Ollie Debug, which is a very
Bugger.
old and outdated x86 debugger. If someone
This is why I didn't want to watch this shit. I don't know what the fuck any of this is.
was doing actual reverse engineering these days, the tools they would look
Yes,
for in
very
these would
good,
probably be
very
something
good, yes.
like EDA Pro or Ghidra, a reverse engineering tool
Ghidra.
built by the NSA and free
One of my favorites of the kaiju that Godzilla has battled.
available on GitHub to download and use. Anyways, let's open up Ollie Debug and attach our little DRM test application and see what we get. So here in the main window, we have something that is called assembly. This is normally the lowest low-level programming language used and is very tightly
Bro, I barely have enough time to play a run of Monster Train every day. I don't have time to get into coding.
response to machine code. And these are the instructions your computer or phone CPU is actually executing when you're using a program. The other window panes don't matter at
Okay.
all for our purposes, so we can ignore them. Next, I'm going to run this program as just a simple smoke test to make sure everything's working as we expect it to. Namely, we see the red background and the pirate game detected stuff we expect from our DM. I don't need the live attached process info, so I'll close the app and return to the view we had originally when we opened the exe. Now, remember earlier how I mentioned IGG Games was an ASCII string? Well, that's what we're going to search for. Since the string isn't obfuscated and will be in plain text, we can easily search for it and hunt it down.
Okay.
All right, I see two IGG game strings in our search. Let's just go and open the first one and see what code is there. The first function looks similar to our stub function in our C++ code. The second
Why the fuck does anyone want me to watch this? I might as well just, put on the sound of rain hitting a window.
IGG game strings is just a bit beneath, so let's look at that. Now we see something interesting in DRM code
skipping.
within the debugger. The reason being, in order for the message to appear, it has to either be checking the pirated game variable or is close to the DRM check function, because otherwise it wouldn't be able to be triggered. In either case, we have enough info from this alone to hunt down the DRM and break it, even if we didn't have the original DRM code snippet for reference. Now, let's talk about the C++ versus GameMaker issue. GameMaker is a game engine, and it has its own process of packaging up a game built together and will include much more files than just a single exe. You might think this would modern and should still be in the game.
I'm gonna be entirely real with you. I don't have much hope for this becoming anything I give a
Game.
fuck
Also-
or know anything about. I do not give a flying fuck about any of this. Nor do I have anything to say. I'm out. Glad for you. Given that it's showing 5.2k views and 799 comments, he probably has a hell of a lot more than 5.2k views right now. He definitely has a hell of a lot more than 11k views as well. YouTube is lagging. Have I seen Coding Jesus' video? No, because I do not give a flying fuck about code. I only looked at any of this because people are like, no, you should look at it. Look at it, look at it, look at it. The first video, there was some fun to it, especially since we could go off and look at stuff on our own. This, I have no idea, and I don't care. Instead, we're going to learn about plumbing. Maybe. Maybe. Or we could learn why all food content sucks. I think the Creator Clash being cancelled stuff will have to wait until tomorrow, but we can look at... Do you want to learn why all food content sucks? Even though that's not true, because of course, I have a food channel and it's really good. Is the view count shown publicly inaccurate compared to the one in the Creator Studio? If you are getting a lot of views very fast, especially early on, it can be way off. It can be way, 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 way off. When you get lots of views fast, it lags behind for a long time. When you get views more slowly, it stays more or less in line because you're not racing ahead, right? Yeah. You got blocked from commenting on any channel for talking about Ready or Not. What do you mean? I have not shown Gary's book. Although I guess I could. Probably want to be careful showing Amazon. Gary Eats. Yeah, I'm not going to show Amazon because I'll dox myself. Showing Amazon will in fact dox me. But Gary Eats has a hardcover coming out in a few months that is ostensibly just a book entirely made up of summaries of episodes of his food review show on YouTube. Every page has 4 screen caps of the video it's summarizing. And a little horrible text bubble that says, "Let's give it a go." And a QR code to the given video. Anyway, here's what's killing YouTube according to Down the Rabbit Hole. Or rather, killing FoodTube according to Down the Rabbit Hole. Should I just show you guys my food channel? Nah, you'll have to wait.
If you're anything like me, you have a hyperfixation on food YouTube. There is endlessly...
I wouldn't call it a hyperfixation. Also, momentarily,
If you're anything
I thought I was looking at gore.
like me, you have a hyperfixation on food YouTube. Whether it is endlessly scrolling through shorts about
Endlessly scrolling through
different
my
recipes or
shorts.
watching endless videos
It's not showing, my bad. There you go.
of creators trying to recreate dishes found in movies, pop culture, fast food, or staples of cuisine. Food content has become such a large subculture of YouTube.
Mishmash. You gotta show cereals, Lee. And I've gotta show it every single time. Show the gore. I'll go from the start again. It's just a pizza, okay? My favorite food channel. Not in terms of enjoyment, because I don't fucking watch it. I just love that there's a guy going fucking nuts. Covering literally nothing but breakfast cereal. Sometimes when the ice creams happen, okay. There's a bacon flavored version of a cereal coming out, and a cereal flavored version of the brand of bacon they're partnering with coming out. I don't see him covering that. Kinda disappointed, but fucking Friends cereal?
Seriously, where we take cereals seriously. My name is Alex, and I eat and review hundreds of cereals a year.
Do you think this is just a rich person who doesn't give a fuck? Or is it sometimes with these, I suspect it's just like a guy who has all the money in the world and is happy to put a bunch of time into literally anything he wants. Or do you think he's driven when it's actually a huge inconvenience? It's a wild focus. I would have expected that a serial-focused channel would run out of material, but they're not. I had no idea the true breadth and depth of serial releases. What the fuck is that?
Minecraft.
True Moo Creeper Milk. Nah, don't drink that. That's scary. That worries me.
If you're anything like me, you have a hyperfixation on food YouTube.
Green? Does it say creeper milk?
Movie Frosted Flakes and Minecraft milk from TrueMoo. Will turning regular milk green be enough to
Zoom in.
Of a Minecraft movie? Now, I'm taking my kid and his friends to see the movie tonight, so I haven't seen it yet, but by the time you watch this, I will.
Hang on.
I don't know if I've had sweet...
Jesus! It's like someone soaked a highlighter. Someone cut open a highlighter pen and put it in milk. That's not good, man. The film that lined your organs is infected now. You got millions of little tumors just from one sip of that shit. That's obscene. Turn off the lights. Does it glow? Also, is it called creeper milk? Oh.
In the bowl, by my eyeballs, I'd say no. It's the same green. Maybe it just blended in with itself, but I don't see a distinct difference between definitely turning
fucking A. Somehow the dollar color is worse. That's grotesque. When I was a kid, we had chocolate toffee Frosties, and that was crazy, but it was delicious. Anyway.
Whether it is endlessly scrolling through shorts about different recipes or watching endless videos of creators trying to recreate dishes found in movies, pop culture, fast food,
you know it's spoiled if it tastes good.
Or staples of cuisine.
You know what I feel like could be a viral video? If I get my hands on the creeper milk and make a cheese from it. What the fuck? Thank you, Hexathian. Hexathian has an update on the creeper milk from PC Gamer. Green Minecraft creeper milk is made with petroleum-based synthetic dyes that even the Trump administration wants to ban. I mean, the Trump admin has RFK rooting for the removal of all chemicals from food, so I'm not surprised, but yeah, that color is not a color you should be putting in your mouth. Unless you're gay and on a Grindr date with the Hulk, don't put anything that green color in your mouth. Of course, for too long, some food producers have been feeding Americans petroleum-based chemicals without their knowledge or consent, said U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Yeah, just fucking petrol down your throat, man. Perhaps it needs saying, but creeper milk is not a thing in Minecraft, or indeed in a Minecraft movie. I'm pretty sure there's a mod for that. What about the Star Wars blue milk? I had Star Wars blue milk. There is a Star Wars food stall in Manchester that is not in any way fucking official, so they're in danger. But they have blue milk for you. And it is actually garlic mayonnaise.
Food content has become such a large subculture of YouTube that it has become one of the most profitable sectors for creators. And here is where my issues begin. I'm not sure when this started.
Oh, just a skin removal tool?
Or with what channel, but it seems as of late, all food content has become the same. I made every blank. I tried every whatever. This is the most expensive cut of...
Not really. You're looking at the very surface. The food content landscape is rich and diverse, I'm sorry to tell you.
beef in the world. I ate the most expensive restaurant in the world. Food content has become such a mind-numbing
That's normie food content. Nah.
and monotonous subgenre that has begun to experience its own form of burnout. I know I'm not a
That's like normie content that has food or focuses on food. That's not the real fucking food content shit. That's not real food content. Here's the real food content. Alright? Wait, hang on a second. There we go.
Your mother, your mom, fed the streamer $2.
Welcome back.
Blue milk straight from the walrus titty.
Hell yeah, brother.
And since today it is Sunday, welcome to Sunday Sunday, where we make all sorts of hot, cold, and frozen desserts, and everything in between, and do it as easily as possible. So
That's the real heart and soul of YouTube food content.
here's
alright?
Nikki to show you how. Come on, man.
Well, welcome to Nikki's Nosh, and of course I'm
Nikki's
Nikki.
Nosh. We got Nikki's Nosh. We have obese Andrew.
Let's go have a quick look round Sparrow's Nest. We'll go get something to eat.
This is the real heart and soul of food
Have a look over
YouTube.
here, look. There you go. Little Gulliver Bird's Eye Factory over there. But what we're going to do is have a quick look round here.
You don't necessarily need a gimbal, but I think Fat Andy absolutely needs a gimbal. Desperately needs a gimbal. There we go. Man of the people. That sausage is fucking over. That sausage looks like a burn victim's thumb.
Sausages are nice. Got a wasp right there now. I'll put a bit of salt on them beans. I need to get some flavour into them.
Oh no. I have never ever had to season my beans. That's a horrible sign. That tomato hasn't been grilled enough as well, clearly. Some tepid bread.
That's the breakfast.
Tepid bread. Tepid. Who else is cool? There's ASDX Eats. Here's a small guy. 269 views 6 days ago. ASDX Eats. I watch this guy. Travels around, eats things, shows it to you. Crepes are kind of boring as fuck, but you know. He does the whole first person perspective like he's feeding you. It's the good stuff. Not this. Not this. This is normie content that deals with food. This is not real food content.
alone and thinking that people like Guga, Nick DiGiovanni, Joshua Weissman, and more are great creators. Don't get me wrong, but they all kind of just feel the same nowadays. They all seem to have ripped off the Mr. Beast idea of being the most, doing the most, and showing the most. They even have the same videos and the same ideas as each other, and their content comes out basically at the same time. This has created such an oversaturation of meaningless content that people have begun to notice.
And yet they continue to watch.
Let's take Joshua Weissman for example.
Also, if it required the development of a pattern for you to notice that it's really not of any value to human eyes, I don't know what to say.
Fan of Josh's for years. I remember watching his Fermentation Fridays and his cooking techniques and thinking, wow, I'm really learning something from a professional cook in a way that is fun and easy to digest. He quickly became one of my favorite food creators as his takes on dishes constantly had me in awe. I genuinely felt like I was becoming a better home cook because of him. Then when he started to do his series on But Better, where he would recreate fast food recipes with better technique, I thought that this was the perfect next step in his content creation phase. And it would garner him such virality that his page exploded with subscribers in a matter of months. I still watched his videos and enjoyed them, although there was a less of an emphasis.
Popeyes is straight dog shit. At the very least, if you're in the UK, don't touch Popeyes. Utter fucking garbage. Fucking panko breaded trash. There will be fucking weirdo security guards stomping around. The employees beg you to go on the website and compliment them. The hot chicken does not taste any different to the regular chicken. The cups are all fucked up. Everything is wrong with it. Nothing is correct. Don't touch it.
On new recipes and new takes on classic dishes, he still came out with those videos often enough to keep me a loyal subscriber. I even bought his first cookbook and I loved it and still use it to this day. Then, somehow, he lost me. He started doing these insane challenges, started to travel across the country and world to film exotic locations. He started to have less of an emphasis on what made him popular to begin with, and to me at least, became a Mr. Beast-esque creator. With his recent videos all about doing the most of something or hacks for your life, trying the most foods, it's a complete departure from what made him likable in the first place. This new fast-paced editing with an overly produced set and some of the most expensive equipment in the world has lost me as a viewer. And he's not alone in this craze.
No! No! I can't believe him! What's that guy's name again? Joshua... Is it Joshua Weissman? Joshua Weissman. There we go. 10.3 million subs. Video with Uncle Roger. Let's see how bad it is.
Fried chicken has become a religion in America. At this point, every...
Okay, that's pretty fucking obnoxious. Okay, we're 3 minutes in and that shit is...
Fried chicken has become a religion in America. At this point, every U.S. city has their own beloved local spot, but some places are...
Oh my fucking god. Yeah, it's... Yeah, okay. Mr. Beast, but maybe even worse. It's for frying the brains of children who've been given an iPad in their crib.
Legendary and stand out above the rest. But today, I want to find the best. I asked you to name America's top fried chicken cities and the absolute best spots.
Obnoxious, sure.
Nick DiGiovanni has basically...
But guess what? Most people are just cattle to be funneled into the feeding room at the trough of your choice. That's how you do it. He's the real winner. He's the real winner.
Become the same, and so has Google Foods. So many of these creators have followed suit because of how successful Josh and Nick have gotten that it all kind of feels the same. And I'm no longer excited to watch their videos, and in fact, I've just kind of stopped watching them altogether. On the flip side, however, there are small content creators who have exploded with popularity recently as they have the opposite.
Have you guys watched The Sopranos? I've reached the final series. We're like halfway through the final series. Most of this last series I haven't been enjoying very much. But easily the best moment in this series so far was this. Does anyone know? Does anyone remember? When he notices fucking Ben Kingsley behind him. The camera cuts to him being like... It's so fucking good. It's so good.
Approach.
Hi everyone, it's Future Canoe from Radioactive Chicken Farm.
This TikToker turned YouTuber has taken these social media platforms by storm. But if you're a fan of his, you'll quickly realize something. Whether it's his nonchalant, sarcastic voice,
Cooking one single egg because it might get bored and make a popcorn, just like this one over here.
his constant memes,
I'm gonna give it a 6.9.
What is 6.9? A good thing ruined by a period.
his lack of high-budget production value, or his infamous Ligma fork, Future Canoe's content has one thing that most other creators seem to be lacking: authenticity.
I don't have anything against Future Canoe. I wouldn't point to him as as like the authentic food tuber.
The faceless phenom of Future Canoe started back when he graduated college in 2022. In an interview with Spoon University, Canoe says that at the time of his graduation, he was not
I find Future Canoe to come across as intensely artificial.
wanted by any job in New York City.
Which isn't necessarily a wrong or bad thing, but contrasted with someone like Fat Andy or Nicki's Nosh.
So in all his free time, he started to make YouTube and TikTok foods in his apartment. He would often,
like, highly self-aware. Practically a character, as people are saying in the chat, in fact.
oftentimes make jokes about himself.
My friends like to call me a couch potato, which is super unfair for the potato.
And film himself just to break up the monotony of his life. After months of this, Canoe landed his full-time job and kept on posting TikToks. One of his TikToks randomly caught fire and garnered him 100,000 followers within a week. With his Ligma fork and his can of tomatoes by his side, Canoe became an icon on TikTok, making fun of himself and other creators, being a touch crass, kind of annoyed with himself, and always out of milk. He quickly started to gain a loyal fan base. Within a few months of posting TikToks, he passed 1 million followers and started a YouTube channel. At the time of this video, his account has been active for 9 months and has already gained over 1.1 million subscribers. Growth like this is far from normal, and Canoe is also far from normal. He now has a list of channel regulars that his fans have come to know and love, like his never-ending supply of raclette, beating it on the couch, I Gave a Second Chance to Kewpie Mayo, and his dad returning with the milk.
So gimmicks.
From his store.
And I'm still
not even gimmick, just recurring bits.
waiting for my dad to come back with the milk, so we're just gonna do it.
Canoe has never showed his face on camera because of his day job, which requires him to talk face-to-face with clients, and he does not want that to be tainted with his internet fame. But what exactly did Canoe do that launched him to the place he is today? He doesn't have a fancy set, he doesn't buy the nicest ingredients, he actually usually never has the correct.
I've seen him drop some fucking cash on recipes. I haven't seen a ton of videos. I think every single one I did, he's dropped money.
Ingredients.
Spaghetti instead of fettuccine because I don't have any.
Nor does he like machines. And those reasons are what make him popular. People can connect with Canoe more than they can with the celebrity YouTube chef. Canoe is in touch with meme culture. His persona is basically one of an internet troll. He doesn't
If this guy lived in the Simpsons universe, he would be a Poochie fan.
take himself or his content too seriously. And he just seems like a normal guy who's posting videos to a site that he genuinely enjoys. He doesn't seem to have an assistant, doesn't have truffles on every dish, and constantly flames his own food. As a watcher of Future Canoe's content, I enjoy the realness of his NPC experiences, whether it is in his struggle meals or him going around New York City.
But you've laid out that it can be perceived as abiding by a formula.
City or viral foods.
To visit the most viral restaurants in the New York City.
This is fucked up. I have no problem with Future Canoe, but this guy's making me hate him. Like, this is fucked up. Everything I've watched of Future Canoe is fine. But he's making me hate this guy. The way he's describing him. What the fuck is this?
Chinatown.
He shows what life is like for the average NPC trying to follow food trends and crazes. Now, there's no glitz nor glam, and that's what makes Canoe successful. Canoe isn't alone in this new wave of content creators.
I disagree. If you're aware of the full scope of YouTube food content, Future Canoe is high end. Future Canoe's production is more than 50% of the way to being the most hyper polished produced stuff because of how low it goes. On the scale of 0 to that Weissman guy, he's more than halfway there. What was the name of that guy who lives in the Resident Evil 7 house? He's the guy who's like not glitz and glamour. It's cool.
But he seems to be the faceless phenom of it all. TikTok chefs like Sad Poppy, Chad Kubanoff, and Who.Lee have become some of my new staples of food content. They do what these other creators used to do, in my mind, have perfected it. I hate to think that these beloved creators are becoming the same globless mass of food industry, but unless they change and go back to what made them popular in the first place, I know I won't be alone in unsubscribing to their pages and forgetting about them altogether.
You're not gonna forget.
You look lonely.
Your parting shot on a video like this can't be like, I'm gonna forget about him now. You can't do it. You just look all fucked up. You just look very fucked up. Wait, F Society. I saw a guy wearing a shirt with that design on it today. By the way. Also, Cicada 3301 or whatever the hell that is. I'm pretty sure the Washroom in Manchester, I think it's called the Washroom, a cocktail bar, has a little puzzle that is based on Cicada 3301 or whatever. You solve it and then you get to order from the secret menu. It's good shit. It's good shit. But I don't know what it is. Never really watched that stuff. That's the really shitty Mr. Robot Anonymous thing? Okay. It's entirely separate from F Society. I guess he's just gonna talk about both of those things in the video then. What the fuck? Is this a guy who looks like me? Not really. Not really. Not really. Alright. I had other stuff planned, but I'm gonna call it here. And I'll do it tomorrow instead. Shit I want to look at is Thin on the Ground. We're probably gonna cover, probably gonna look over some, Creator Clash 3 stuff tomorrow, and some, general real life misery videos tomorrow, and then maybe on Sunday we'll play some video games, and after that, who knows? I'm always scrabbling around for stuff to look at, but right now it's hard to find exciting stuff that I really want to dig into. So we're Thin on the Ground, might be some more gaming, we'll see. Until tomorrow though, where we'll look at some Creator Clash stuff. Thank you very much for joining. Wait! Babe, what? Why are you screaming? The Ryanair? Oh, okay. One more thing. Lucky Bee sent this to me on Tuesday, and I didn't catch it before the stream, or rather, didn't catch it before I ended the stream. Let me show you real quick. Plane accidents are scary, right? But did you know sometimes nothing going wrong can in some ways be more scary than a plane accident? Here's a story I didn't get to tell you on Tuesday. From news.com.au. Pure hell as passengers break bones leaping from plane wing. Alright? This is like reverse Final Destination. This is people who weren't in danger deliberately hurting themselves, thinking they're in danger, instead of people who think they're safe, suddenly dying in bizarre ways. Passengers have claimed it was pure hell and chaos on the Ryanair flight, where people were injured when they leapt meters down from the wing. Protocol allegedly went out the window when a steward ran down the aisle screaming, "Evacuate, evacuate," and panicked passengers clamored to escape after a false fire alert. Footage of the Manchester-bound plane on the tarmac in Palma, Mallorca, shows a cluster of people on the wing with some plunging to the ground. I'm not going to play it because apparently they were all getting fucking pretzeled. Their legs were just fucking shattering. Multiple passengers required surgery for badly broken bones after crunching onto the tarmac meters below. The airline claims only minor injuries were sustained. Holy fuck. This poor bitch got Looney Tunes. She got actually Looney Tunes. Speaking from her hospital bed in Palma on Monday, Francine told The Sun, "I was watching a film when suddenly they shouted for everyone to evacuate. There was an open door and I just went through it. I was so terrified I was in a daze that I didn't know what was going on, and I jumped. She just fucking Wile E. Coyote'd out of the open plane door when there was no slide or stairs. Wonder how far she got out before she went straight down. She's also clearly being coached by a lawyer. If there had been someone over the tannoy telling me where to go, I would have been able to make it to a slide and I wouldn't be in this state. 100% their fault. Get the fucking bag. Ryanair has organised for Francine to return to the UK on a flight this evening. This article isn't from today. But she said she is terrified and doesn't want to fly again. Just don't jump onto the tarmac, though. Come on. You're milking it a bit. This time, just don't jump off the wing. Just don't jump out the doorway, alright? You learned your lesson, alright? Panic you once, shame on them. Panic you twice, well, you don't panic again. That's the point. Yeah. And yeah, Ryanair's trying to say people just got sprains. People just got some sprains. It's fine. It's okay. It's alright. Anyway, yeah. That is actually all. Tomorrow we'll look at some Creator Clash stuff. We'll look after Man explaining how apprenticeships are over. What if I told you apprenticeships have been over for more than a fucking decade? That shit's been gutted for a long ass time. That shit's been a joke forever. It's just an excuse to not pay someone as much as you should nowadays. Except in some very particular circumstances. Mostly it's a rip. So many of my buddies I went to school with would get involved in one of these new apprenticeships, start to get towards the point where they'd have some form of qualification, and then, oops, sorry, we've had to terminate your apprenticeship. Start again somewhere else, being paid less than minimum wage on the basis that you're learning. It's fucked. It's fucked up. Anyway. See you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Thanks for all the donors, subs, and for having a good time. Until then, good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the apprenticeship bite.